welcome to the Irish Independent's weekly GAA Championship preview video, and it's All-Ireland Senior Football final week, so I'm back with the football expert Conán Doherty. Conán, how are you, boy?
Big one, Michael. We had the curtain raiser on Sunday, now we have the big one.
I tell you, it'll do well live up to the curtain raiser. It is a brilliant final, and it's probably the pairing that, outside of maybe Armagh, it's the pairing that people were looking at for maybe a long way out. Jim McGuinness' last game, 2014, after taking down Dublin in the semi-final, beaten by Kerry in the final. He gets his shot at redemption 11 years there. Jim versus Jack. What more do you want?
That's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And two, I suppose, legends of managerial roles in your counties as well, like Jack O'Connor.
Does Jack get enough praise? And he does not lauded for what he's done. 3 terms, like.
Pascal actually said something like, is this going to be his 10th final now? And maybe he'll have won 5 if he does it. And it's like, and how much of a difference that'll make. And if he doesn't win, it's like, well, hang on, if he doesn't win, he's already won a hell of a lot, But it's so well set up, and it's obviously 2 great teams, the 2 best teams of the year. And we obviously had bad semi-finals, which sets up a good final. But it's also, and I mean this as a compliment, but it's like a system against individuals, and both of them, like Donegal, great individuals. Kerry have a great system, and they play well as a team. But in terms of like what you're looking at from highlights, it's like, can this system beat David Clifford and Sean McShay, essentially? Yeah,
it's a real styles clash, isn't it? And even some people would say, and I've had this conversation with several people, that Kerry are the perfect winners in the first year of the new rules, as in for the template of what's going forward. If Donegal win, you'll have teams maybe hand-passing the length and breadth of the country and going crazy fitness-wise. But like that's kind of feeds into how interesting the game is as well. It's like Kerry are going to probably kick regularly enough. They'll carry as well, but they will try and get a kick inside. Donegal maybe less so, unless we see maybe a rabbit from the hat and Murphy parked at 14 a la the 2012 final or something like that maybe, and they try and get joy out of a long ball. But it is a real styles clash between the 2 ways they play.
Yeah, it really is. And this is the thing, like even back in the 10s, after Donegal sort of had their breakthrough and everyone was copying what they were doing, someone used to say to me, no one ever copies what Kerry did. Kerry had obviously won the most All-Irelands, and nobody said, let's do what they're doing.
It's the hardest thing to copy, that's why.
Exactly, like you need to create space, you need to kick the ball accurately, you need to take on your man. Whereas obviously, again, teams, the way they did it, and I actually think Jim McGuinness' team back in the 10s didn't get enough credit because that system was designed perfectly for that team.
Yeah.
The problem was that everybody else tried to superimpose it onto teams that it didn't suit, and like you said, they had Murphy in full forward, they're banging into the Colin McFadden, they had Paddy McBurty, they had great runners, so it actually was so well set up for that team.
Yeah.
All their teams trying to do it was the problem with football, not Jim McGuinness, but now here we are all these years later and they're almost ignoring the new rules. It's like, we can still get our defence set, we can still double up somehow even though it's 11v11. And when we go forward, we're still going to go inside the arc and we're going to have pass the ball through you. We're going to get comfortable with all this pressure around us and we're still going to create space. So it's absolutely so finely set up. And then, the other side, you have what everyone's just agreeing is the greatest player of all time.
Yeah, the greatest player of all time, who along with Michael Murphy going into this weekend, they both just have one All-Ireland medal.
Yeah, can you be the greatest of all time if you've only won one?
Probably not, but like there's a fair chance at the end of this year he'll be a 3-time Footballer of the Year before he turns 27. And amazingly, Murphy is a second favourite in that market, and he's never even been nominated for Footballer of the Year throughout his career. Imagine if Murphy wins Footballer of the Year, Donegal win the All-Ireland, and 12 months ago he was sitting in the BBC studio providing analysis for the final. Do you know what I mean? It would be a crazy story. He turns 36 next month, I think. Mad story.
And the thing is, like, people obviously say that, Murphy's only won one All-Ireland. You have to think about where he's coming from. I mean, when he started playing, Donegal had won one All-Ireland in their whole life, and they won 5 Ulsters. And Murphy doubled all that. He won 5 Ulsters himself, and he won an All-Ireland. And he completely doubled their entire history. And he retired, like you said, took a year out to himself, analysed a few games, changed the rules, and then came back. And now he's won Ulster again, and he could win another All-Ireland. And I don't think he'll... I don't know if we can talk about, like, is he better than Clifford or whatever, but how he'll be remembered as his legacy, especially in Donegal, is going to be unmatched. It's it.
Yeah, if he comes back and wins an All Ireland, like doesn't get any better than that. Haven't been out of the game for a year. At his age, it's not as if he was 30 or 31.
It's Michael Jordan.
Yeah, kind of is, isn't it? Just on the final, we talked about Clifford there, and much will centre around what's Jim McGuinness's plan to thwart David Clifford. I think it's kind of universally agreed, and maybe this won't happen, but McCall has been the one kind of constant man marker that deviates from the system. Most other players play zonal, they follow the system. He's the one player that can go with another player and just doesn't have to worry about anything else. Is that how you see it on Sunday? Did he pick him up? And it's not as simple as a one-on-one. It can't be as simple. Surely there's somebody dropping back in front. Surely the side Clifford is, if he plays to a side, and particularly on that left foot side, collapses a bit more and there's more bodies going over to that side. And obviously the old deny. If he doesn't get the ball, it's very hard to do damage.
Yeah, like I remember Philly McMahon doing great analysis about the type of ball going into Clifford. I know that's well fabled and people talk about pressure on the ball out the field, but he was more talking about the angle of pressure out the field. So like if I think Dublin were going to play Kerry in 2023, and obviously it was different rules back then, but his view of it was to stop Kerry coming out down the right wing and try and force them back across the pitch. Now, obviously Kerry are comfortable enough, they can kick it down the ball and there's more space now, but it's just to try and stop that funnel from source, really. Not even about pressure, but trying to just direct traffic the other way if Clifford wants it over in that pocket.
It's kind of like what Tip did last week. They didn't want the ball coming down that left wing, and Cork had to just completely go the other side, and it wasn't comfortable for them.
Yeah, because once Clifford gets it there, especially now, like you can't do anything to make it. Leave him space on his left, and you don't even need to leave him a lot of space. So a lot of people on his boot sometimes, and the ball's still getting off. He'll swing it over, he'll kick 2 points, or he'll take it on the outside because he's faster and stronger than everybody. So we can talk about Clifford here now without somebody saying he's actually really big as well, you know. We know that too. Like, you can kick him in any type of ball, and as soon as he gets it there, it's trouble. So if you can try and stop him getting it there, it's not half the battle, but it does help somewhat.
Isn't he the perfect prototype for a modern footballer? He's big, he's rangy, he's fast, he's strong, he has a sidestep, he has 2 feet. Like, it's
composed, he got brained, he gets set up. Remember some of the balls he's played across, like, you know, there's little darting balls across goal as well. He's always going for goal.
Yeah.
I think Chrissy McCaig said that, actually. He said that was the hardest thing about working him, is that he'll always ask that question. Are you going to let me in for goal here? And if once you're a defender and you're deciding that you don't want to let him in for goal, then that's when you're leaving him kick points.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see whether they can kind of quell his influence a small bit. The one thing, and it might sound a bit simplistic, when someone absolutely rips it up in a semi-final, I'd prefer a fella maybe been a bit quieter coming into a semi-final and exploding in a final. But it's so often that, and even I look at that from a Kerry and Donegal point of view. Donegal had an relatively easy, straightforward semi-final. Kerry had a tougher semi-final and a tougher quarter-final as well. It's funny, Kerry have played the Division 1 teams at the back end of the year. Donegal have played them at the front end of the championship, and then they've been playing maybe more Division 2 sides. But I don't see that amounting to too much when it comes to Sunday. It's the 2 best teams in the country. Like, it's hard to see much more than a score between them, realistically, is it?
I agree, because Donegal haven't dropped their standard either. It's not like they've sort of lowered to levels they're playing at. I mean, yes, it is nice that they played Louth, Monaghan and Meath to get through to the final. After winning Ulster, by the way, but like they wiped the floor with Louth and they got men off. They wiped the floor with Meath. They powered home against Monaghan when they were under a lot of pressure. So they've been playing at a good standard anyway, and I think they're well primed for Kerry. And they've gotten the rest. Obviously, there was a lot of talk a few weeks ago about, they're playing a lot of football. Nobody's played more games in championship football than Donegal have this year, but I think they're well set up on that front. It's just I think it's just going to come down to now if they can stop Clifford and O'Shea, because as Tyrone showed, you can maybe stop 2 of them, like Paddy Clifford and Sean O'Shea. You can limit them, but it's trying to stop the third. But Donegal are very good at doubling up, even with 11 people back. And I remember the Dublin League game, might have been Letterkenny, and I was so interested when I don't remember the keeper's name, but the Dublin keeper was coming up back in the state.
That's right, yeah.
Extra man. And Donegal couldn't have cared less about it. They let him run in on their post with Sean Patton. Like, he was completely free in there, and they just didn't bother because they knew there were bigger threats to focus on.
I wonder, will that be something similar on Sunday? Will they be happy enough? You know the old last dance line? I forget which coach is against the Bulls, and like, Michael is not beating us, as in Jordan. And they're like, if somebody else is going to beat them, it's not going to be, that's fine. Yeah. but it's not going to be Clifford, and to a lesser extent probably Shawnee O'Shea.
If Joe O'Connor, Paul Geaney, whoever, if they can score 2-15 between them, good luck to you, that sort of thing. Like, but let's make sure David Clifford and Sean O'Shea doesn't, and that'll give us a better chance.
The last thing, because it has to be talked about, because it's more important than ever, kickouts. And Patton had problems in the quarter-final in the first half. He had problems even as dominant as they were in the first half against Meath, he had problems there as well. Who has the edge between Shane Ryan and Sean Patton? And even from a Kerry point of view, the kind of the 4-4-4 press that they put on, it's going to be fascinating to see how he reacts to that. And he generally doesn't go short, because I think they're trying to get away from the possibility of maybe a Paul Durkin-like mistake as that cost him in the 14 final. It's going to be fascinating to see how aggressively Kerry go after him.
This is what we talked about after the Armagh match, is that they didn't even try one over the top, which Rafferty could have done, and now Patton will definitely do. I mean, the last really, really aggressive press that I remember against Donegal, he didn't really put on that mad press because he got enough good bodies around the middle, but obviously Derry last year, and we know what happened there. The ball went over the top and they cut them out 4 times, he got 4 goals. I don't know if Kerry will... If Donegal can sober them up once with one ball over the top, then they might not even have to win, but it just looks dangerous. I think Kerry will step off there. They're not going to keep that press on the whole game, so I don't think it'll be as big of an issue. I think going into the Meath match, it's sort of priced in against Meath. It's like, you're going to struggle a little bit in the middle. It's interesting though, because Ryan and Patton are 2 of the best keepers coming in, 2 of the best kickers. Kerry have been flying around the middle of the pitch, even though people had criticised. They must have got newspaper articles.
Wouldn't be like any county team to be putting up what people are saying in the newspaper or online.
O'Connor could be coming back now as well, so they'll be strong around there. Yeah, I think it's just going to be 50-50 really around the middle.
You say 50-50, and kind of that's the general team, but who wins it and why?
Do you want to go first?
This, again, it's maybe a bit simplistic, but I just think, I said it to you before the semi-final, I just think you know exactly what you're going to get from Donegal. Now, I think there will be little tweaks there as regards how they look at Clifford, and maybe as I said, Murphy going to full forward, not for half an hour, but maybe for 10 minutes at some stage, and they'll try a long ball, that diagonal Carl Lacey ball like 2012. And I would have a lot of faith in them delivering an 8 out of 10. Kerry's graph is getting higher and higher, and you do think they're coming to the boil. Maybe they'll come and deliver a 9 out of 10. But I'd have a lot of faith in McGuinness as well, and having something different. What that different thing is, I'm not sure, but I'm sure he has something in the locker for Kerry. I think Donegal will edge it just about.
It's almost like the safer money is on Donegal. I don't think you ever see them below 7 out of 10, whereas Kerry could turn up with a 5, but they could turn up with a 10. And if they do, obviously they win. For that reason, I'm sort of leaning towards Donegal, because I just expect consistency with Kerry. I can see it happening, but I just don't know if it does. And I think obviously Donegal will have been preparing for this for the whole year, like the way we know McGuinness does for Ulster Championships, for All Irelands. 2014, they knew they had to beat Dublin to win an All Ireland, so they focused on Dublin from the start of the year. Like that famous meeting that they had in 2014, it was here's Dublin and here's how to beat it.
I think a similar conversation has probably happened as regards Kerry.
I've been preparing for this since January, lads. Here's Kerry, and here's everything.
And you know what? I'm doing a piece for the paper there on the cult of McGuinness and how he gets the squad to buy into him. Like, they're not really missing anyone. There's no one not involved that should be involved, and you see him, and he's quite aggressive towards his players on the sideline. And then you see them coming over, and it's like a father figure on the line, and he will have handed them all this information on Kerry and said, "I've been looking at this and he has, I'm sure, and they will buy into every word he says and try to implement the plan, and it's going to be fascinating to see it. It's a fascinating game. That's the final one of our championship preview videos, the final game of the year, barring extra time and level after extra time, which is unlikely. But thanks a million for tuning in, and enjoy the game on Sunday. For more on Sunday's game, follow all our coverage on the Irish Independent.